Okay, so this will be a bit of a catch up. Adrian, my friend, is on. It's so nice to have you.
Thanks, Alexa. Nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course, yeah, I've been waiting for years for this to
Mhm.
happen.
Finally got started.
Yes, last style. So I'm really excited, and yeah, we've known each other for a couple of years. We've actually been typing together in the CRG thing. And yeah, worked a bit together for yeah, practicing typing clients for free. And while I haven't really been active for a while, you have kept at it and you are doing the consistency game. You're really sharpening, owning in your typing skills.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Fun.
impressed. Yeah, sorry.
No, I was just saying it's been fun.
Yeah,
And you were the one who kind of got me into it. You were the one who set up the group. So
right. I set
I
up the
like
group and then I left.
no, but yeah, no, but it was good that like you got me into it because I didn't really know much about CRG. Um, and I think it was a really like beneficial like activity for myself in terms of working in a team and then also just like finding something that I could be consistent with because it's already in my wheelbarrow and also it's kind of like it might consume interest well at the time and so it's been really fun so far.
Yeah, wow. I want to hear about your stats later because I'm sure you have improved. And another cool fact here for just for the audience and for this interview is that you are, I'd say, one of the more popular types in OP because there are lots of SEFE, SEFIs and SETEs out there in the, I don't know, like what do you say? Like the famous people that they're typing. Seems like it's a favorite, like of Dave and Chance somehow. Or if it's not a favorite, at least that's what's, seems to be happening all the time. ESFPs for every second lesson at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Lots of classes. So I was thinking maybe that's great for you, like having so many sibling types, cousin types, twin types, and being able to see what resonates and what doesn't resonate and so forth. So now let's kick it off with you. And if you give us a quick intro, like, yeah, your type and when were you typed, and a bit maybe of an elevator pitch of you, who you are, and where you are at. Just feel free to say, blast, say anything.
Sure, sure. So my name's Adrian. I am double feminine, SETE, play, consume, sleep, blast. And I got typed in 2021. I actually did take a picture of it, of the specific date, because I wanted to make sure,
Ooh, I like
yeah, so I can
that.
get the sensory for you guys.
Yeah.
The masculine sensories really enjoy it.
Mm.
But let's see, I have it as, yeah, let's see. Oh, yeah, June 2nd. Okay. 2021.
Cool. So that's 4 years already, more than
Yeah,
that.
time flies. Yeah. And a little bit about me is right now I'm in school in a program computer science combined with a game development degree. And so I'm in that to just work on creating video games and I want to do like storytelling through that. I want to do level design because that's just something I've experienced in. And also I work at a Code Ninjas, which is a place where we teach kids how to create their own video games. So they're
Wow.
using their own, yeah, they're using their own imagination to create what they want. And so that's been what I've been doing for the past this work. It's at least 2 years in school for a bit, but that's a little bit about me. And
Wow.
then I guess
So that's
also,
college, I
mhm.
suppose. Like
Yes,
you're,
in college, yeah.
yeah.
And then in terms of personality, I've been like a little bit on and off in terms of in the group. But yeah, back in 2021, I was in it for a while. I was kind of really into Discord community and all that. And I kind of stepped away a few years ago to like focus on my own thing because I realized like, okay, I want to make sure that things separate from OPS and all that I'm still working on, like my career and all that. And only recently, like the past year, I've kind of gone back and like connected more and try to get more into OPS again.
Hmm. Is there a reason for that, like connecting more and getting more into OPS again?
Um, I'd say the one of the biggest reasons is I realized, or like, well, actually, I should start with the reason why I kind of left was because like I was very much into the communities and the Facebook group and all that, but I felt like in terms of my own personal life, I wasn't really building as much there. And so I didn't want to make sure that part was like left behind. Um, but over time, I felt fairly comfortable with what I was doing in terms of the direction. That's kind of when I lean more on like how I want to go into game development um, instead of just computer science in general. And so I was like, okay, I kind of like where I am now, so I'm gonna go back to the socialization and also I wanted to because I'm already in CRG learning about OPS. I wanted to make sure I can get like better understanding of OPS again because I kind of only had like one side of it now, just from the past, but not the present and social types and all that.
Right, yeah. We're gonna unpack that as well. So you're kind of renewing a little bit of information, maybe catching up, and both with knowledge and the latest, and then this is the community, the people socializing.
Right, right.
Yeah, sounds nice. Um, yeah, so that was a great presentation. Now we have like an idea of who you are and what you do. If we look at your, did you mention where you are at? Maybe you did.
Oh,
I'm
right.
confused last.
Yes. No, I forgot to mention it. I am in Texas, Dallas, Texas, in the US.
Okay, cool. So, um, yeah, Dallas, Texas. That's of course that's south of the States. Just thinking about like the climate right now, is it like end of summer there as well, or?
Mhm. It's about yeah, summer just basically ended, so now fall started, and yeah, there's a few people, OPS people around here in Texas.
Mhm.
We've actually had like meetups and stuff.
All
It's,
right.
it's
Do
been nice.
you have like yeah, something about your family background? Do you have siblings?
Oh, sure.
Where are you
No,
in the birth order?
no siblings. So
Oh
I'm
no.
only child. Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
that's cool. Like all the attention on you.
Yeah, it has its pros and cons. Like, I feel like it's helped me like become more independent.
Hmm.
Um, but it's like also like as a lead play, it's like I also need that play and the skivviness. So I kind of have to like find ways to work around that.
Right.
At least when I
Maybe
was younger. Yeah.
did you have like really close friends that were more like siblings maybe, or that you hang out with a lot?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'd say like I had a spectrum, definitely of friends, but
Hmm.
yeah, there was some that were really close and that would like live close by. So we used to hang out a lot. I think well now I have new friends, but at the time I think they were all like a lot of them were skips as well or around that area.
Right, right. Yeah, let's dive into that. Your functions, you're mentioning that you're a skib, so consume
Mhm.
play or play consume is usually the skib in
Right.
OPS. So I don't know where to start really. Maybe we should just start with the first function, like SE, like real time sensory, taking the world as it is. Like, how do you experience that in everyday life? Now that you've been thinking about it maybe for a couple of years, have you
Mhm.
noticed anything?
Um, it is interesting because it's my first function. It's it's much easier for it to happen without like me knowing compared to like my second function. my T, my
Yeah.
thinking and my D.
Hmm.
But I mean, I'd say the basics is yeah, I am very much or fairly aware of the world around me. Um, and I'm fairly well, like I'd say compared to like again the spectrum, which I think SE is already doing, is looking at the spectrum
Yeah.
of something at least the sensory. Um, I'd say that I am much more attuned to the things around me, um, to like nature, to how I want to um, what I want to do with my body in terms of like getting out more or going out less in terms of looking at like I'm just more attuned to like getting physical and like I like sports and all that. But I wouldn't like for myself, I wouldn't necessarily say like it's obvious that I am doing this sensory. Just because again, it's my first function, and then also I have like a spectrum of people who are also SE that I know, and I'm looking at
Hmm.
myself in that spectrum of SE people. But I can see
Oh.
in terms of everyone, yeah, I'm doing more on the sensory end.
Ooh, so tell me more about that. Like, who are you comparing yourself with? Like celebrities, real people on that
Sure.
spectrum?
Yeah. Um, well, in terms of just specifically the sensory, like I mean, I think this is partly like feminine sensory. Like I'm a klutz. I forget things really easily. Um, I there's a lot of things that I'm like, oh gosh, like I'm not keeping up with my body, or I'm not keeping up with like how I want to experience the world compared to someone else. But it's not really a specific person, and
Mm.
but is that something that like I can see? Where it's like people who are like I guess masculine sensory, I think could be different of like their memory is much stronger. They bring up facts more. I'm not really, I don't really catch myself bringing up facts as much, or yeah, just not as much as other people.
Mm.
And so I think those are some areas where like, in comparison, I'm like, I don't think I see myself to that level.
Right. You're not very factual, but you are bringing that awareness to the table. Like you are actually noticing like things that are going on in your surrounding.
Mhm.
Do you see, because that's something that's happened to me, like for example, my sister, I think I've said this before, when she asked me to, you know, describe someone that I met, and I'm like, it's really hard. Especially if it was just a brief meeting. I'm like, maybe the person was Asian or maybe not, maybe white or was he black? It's like really
Uh,
non-aware
mm,
of the reality.
I don't think I've gone to that point. I usually remember the race, but still there's many details that like names I think are just always a struggle for me. Um, and then yeah, usually I can maybe get like oh very tall
Mm,
white guy something like that.
right.
But yeah, in terms of like really specific, if I needed to like report someone and to give them the specifics, I that would be much more difficult for me.
Right. But you could maybe recognize them like the second time you see them. Like, oh yeah, I've seen that guy before.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't really do that. It's
Uh,
like, no, no, no. It takes time. I have to see them quite a few times before I recognize them. It's horrible. Yeah, but what I do recognize or remember that if we had a conversation, I actually do remember what the person told me
mm,
and what kind of person it was, like the vibe of the person, and those things. Like, yeah, their values and stuff. I can remember
mm.
that. So if we start to talk again, then I will, oh, yeah, this is a person I've talked to before. I remember the conversation.
Okay. That doesn't feel too unfamiliar to me. I feel like through experiences, that's always like the number one way for me to remember someone. If we've had an experience together, if we had like a
Mm.
memory, or bonding experience, that then yeah, I will remember who you are.
Right. So maybe that's the DE then, like our
Sure, sure,
connection with other
maybe
people. Yeah.
that, that could be it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the dominant function. And you mentioned that it's feminine. Um, I'm wondering also, do you feel pulled between chasing for like a lot of new experiences and versus maybe sitting still and planning long term?
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Well, yeah, I still have NI as a function, so I'm still using it to some degree.
Yes, of course.
But it just takes much longer time.
Mm,
If someone brings it up randomly, just like, hey, what have you, I don't know, what have you learned for the past 10 years? Maybe that's kind of sleep, but still, that might take a bit before I get there. And then
right.
in terms of like future planning, um, I feel like I could see myself, especially in my 20s, really pushing on it now more than when I was, or my mid 20s, more than like my early 20s.
Mm,
So it's just like much more work in terms of doing the NI versus with the SC. It's addicting and it's fun. Um, in fact, usually though, I'll end up catching myself finding ways to um, stay away from different like sensory things that I might find addicting,
hmm.
like video games for a period of time, or certain like uh, what's it called, foods that might be unhealthy.
Hmm.
And so I end up trying to avoid those things, even though I know
Right.
that like there's a high for it, and especially with
Right.
SE, like the what kind of helps in terms of having like a healthy relationship with it is just finding like a healthy replacement for what I want. Still
Mm.
having the high, but just a good replacement for the versus like toxic things versus the healthy things.
Yeah. So you kind of identify the patterns of, whatever is affecting you negatively, and you
Mhm.
become aware of it, and then you have a strategy where you kind
Yeah,
of
yeah, but
plan
that takes
for, yeah.
yeah, it takes time because again, like my NT is last, so
Mm.
it takes time in terms of like, I have to go through the experiences first. I have to try the bad things first, and then over time, I realized, okay, that's not actually what I
Yeah.
want, and then I can adjust. It's not
Right.
something I can just sit in my room and understand without
Mm.
actually experiencing it.
Yeah, because also you're not afraid of experiencing something new. It's something, fun and exciting for you. So it makes sense from that perspective, like to seek it out and learn from experience instead of thinking about it beforehand. Yeah, I'm just thinking about like from the NI perspective, I'm always doing the compare and contrast kind of chats here. And yeah, I'm trying not to blast too much because I want to listen to you, but it's tempting, to say something.
You're
Um,
good. Yeah.
yeah, but I'm just like usually maybe for the NI lead, it's more like it's a hassle. It's an effort to try new things. So it's kind of easier, especially maybe as a consume last, just to rule them out. And yeah, we have the opposite problem. Um, I don't know
Yeah.
where I'm going with that.
You're good. With SC, it's like we're not necessarily, or at least I'm not necessarily intentionally just trying new things to try new things. There are times
Mm.
where I will, but a lot of times it's happening because it's more of an addiction. So it might happen subconsciously that I'm trying new things, not because it's like, oh, I need to go do new things. It's more like, no, 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 just naturally I
Yeah,
end up doing new things. I'm not catching myself doing new things. Um,
right. It's
so
just happening, kind of.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. And I guess for you with the feminine aspect also, it's very adaptive. Like you're open, like to flow with the new, maybe differently than someone. I don't know. How is it different from the masculine sensory at the top? Have you
Wait, can you
thought of
repeat it one more
it?
time so I
I'm
can
just,
understand it?
yeah, because I'm just thinking out loud here. So, because yours is feminine, your SE is feminine.
Hmm.
So you're not pushing or forcing reality, but you are more flexing with it, right? So, do you notice that it is soft and more adaptive? Like, have you compared that to those who are masculine sensory at the top? Is there a difference? Have you ever seen anything?
I feel like it's pretty clear when I'm spending time with masculine sensory people, because they're pushing on facts. They want the facts, and they want like they want to make sure it's correct.
Mm,
Or there's still some push, yeah. Whereas with my feminine sensory, it's like if someone, let's say, makes a grammatic mistake, I mean that may be energy as well, but so to a grammatic mistake, I'm like, okay, I can move on. I'm not gonna push here. When someone is not just not saying the not getting the specific dates right, or if I can't get the correct dates right, I'm naturally just moving on because I'm like, okay, let me get to something that does work. I don't need to stop here and focus on the sensory or the dates or anything. I can keep going.
you can keep going, yeah, right.
Yeah.
And maybe that's both the SE and the TE combined somehow.
Mm.
Yeah.
So
So let's, yeah,
yeah. I was gonna say, yeah. Would you be the opposite? Do you push on like the dates and stuff, or is that more of a
yeah.
an info thing? It is more of a
I think
masculine
it's,
sensory.
yeah, because I'm the opposite in that sense because
Yeah.
my ST, even though it's last, it's double masculine.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm super, yeah, super rigid with the facts and with all of the logic and the dates and whatever is like proven to be true cannot
Mm-hmm.
be, um, yeah, it can't be altered, or if someone remembers incorrectly, it's really annoying.
Right, right. Yeah, I think that's really helpful in terms of working with like typing people. I think it's gonna have a combination of both. But especially the masculine sensories, I feel like they can catch me and be like, oh, okay, no, it was actually this specific thing. And I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. Like I'm feminine, I can receive it.
Oh,
Like, okay, that's good. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but it just naturally it can go this throughout the wind, like just go out and disappear the information. So yeah, I
yeah,
think in anything career wise or just that needs that masculine sensory, I think it can be very valuable.
right, right. Yeah, I think like, I mean, Habib, for example, he has masculine sensory at the top and his stats
Mhm.
are really good, I think. So, yeah. And I can probably think of a couple of more examples as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, interesting. So moving on to the TE, because that's you're a jumper, so that's your next savior. And you said that you can see the TE more than you can see the SE, and that's usually how it is, how it works. The second function is easier to see. And that's external logic, in contrast to mine, which is internal. So it's about systems, making things work. And yeah, how do you notice yourself using tea? I mean, both in school or at work. Like, it's a very broad question, but anything you feel like sharing.
That's fair. Yeah. So how I see TE, I'd say if I have to break into parts, I do see thinking as something that I'm just very much drawn to, in terms of like my brain's always spinning, it's always trying to come up with solutions, and it's always trying to find a solution. I think it's much harder for me to like go and ask for help or lean this pass something onto someone else
Hmm.
because the thinking brain is always like, oh, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out eventually. So that's one part. And then DE, I think, is just natural in terms of um, in a group environment, there is always this draw to see who's higher than me and
Mhm.
how I can follow what they need or how I can not step on people's toes because there's a DE. Um,
What's that hierarchy talk you're having? Like, who is
mhm.
higher than you? I don't
Yeah,
really like
I guess a
how.
good question.
Yeah,
Yeah,
tell
so,
me.
for me it's just like okay, if I am let's say if someone's like a boss,
Hmm.
like yeah, if I have a boss, then there's that desire to be like um to not go too high on the DI and just go do what I want. Once I'm with people, basically when I'm with anyone, I don't want to go too far into like, oh, this is what I want to do. I'm just gonna do my own thing. I want to make sure that like at least the person that I think can do the best work on the spectrum
Hmm.
is is um is getting is how do I explain it is able to receive my advice or my tips, and I think this is part of this like collaboration as well. Where it's like I'm very much drawn to how do I collaborate with people, how do I um work together instead
Hmm.
of just alone. I think the different areas I see for my TE.
Right, so that should be perfect for you when you do projects with other people, with groups, and like what you describe that you're doing actually in real life,
Mm-hmm.
working out things together.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I do also enjoy working alone. I think maybe part of that is my the introverted desire to just like make sure I'm doing a good job in terms of like um my own personal way of doing things for sure.
Hmm.
But in terms of what I'm drawn to is the collaboration part, the aspect.
Mm. Okay, so is that very like inspiring to you? Like you get a lot of ideas when you are in a group, or is it more that you thought of some ideas and now you want to share it with the groups, or is it just happening in the moment?
Mix of both, honestly. The like sometimes I do get ideas of my own, and then
Hmm.
I feel more confident when I'm in a group. But other times, like in most work environments I've been in, it involved like being in a environment, group setting.
Hmm.
And I feel like I just keep moving much faster when I'm in a group setting and everyone's doing their own thing. I slow down much more when I'm alone.
Yeah. Maybe we could jump to that coin because the tribe motivated
Sure.
coin, which we actually share, it's not in the description there or in the, yeah, with your name and type, but you were recently officially typed for the social type as well, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I've been officially typed a four
Hmm.
by Dave, and yeah, this is definitely a lot there in terms of why that would lead to tribe motivation. Um, let's
Hmm.
see what I got typed like 2 weeks ago. Yeah,
Oh,
about 2 weeks ago.
yeah.
And
Cool.
in
So how
terms,
did
I just
you react? I mean, like, it's pretty recent. Were you shocked or did you expect it?
not too shocked really. I've really been debating between three and four, and I'd also been Habibed a four.
Hmm.
Um, and he like originally saw three, and then he realized, okay, after watching more, he's like, actually, the flex isn't really there. This is more for motivations.
Yeah.
Uh, but I just wanted to go ahead with the official typing as well. But yeah, in terms of processing it, when I was basically by the time I've been officially typed for my regular typing, um, I was even though I didn't know about social types, I kind of saw myself as similar to people who are typed for actually, in the
Hmm.
sense that I could realize that all of them were like had like this friendly social vibe. They weren't trying to be the best. They weren't trying to knock people down. And I was like, yeah, that naturally feels like me. Like some people who Keanu Reeves, I think is one celebrity that like I kind of naturally kind of felt like I had a similar personality to. And he was type to four.
Is he
Uh,
also what's his type other than the social type?
he's I can't remember his modalities, but he's a TISC. Um, um, consume sleep blast last consume
Hmm.
sleep play blast. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's yeah, certain people like him that I'm like, yeah, I don't see myself high in the hierarchy. I feel like um naturally, especially when I was young, I kind of saw myself as like in the lower range, I guess.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Interesting. Like, wow, is that a thing? I'm like, I mean, I can see that people have different roles. That's more how
Mm-hmm.
I see things. They have different roles, but no one is really higher or lower than anyone. It's more like
Sure.
we're all just doing different things.
Yeah. I think it depends on what, yeah, how you define it. Like for me, what that looked like is that I saw some people who just, in terms of hierarchy, I kind of see it more of like how much do you want to dominate your sphere?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that didn't really matter for me. So that's kind of how I saw it. Not in terms of like who's better or not,
No,
but more
right.
of like who wants
Mo
to dominate, who doesn't. And I didn't really see myself as a dominant type in that way,
okay, yeah.
especially when it comes to like career.
Yeah, because you can see, I mean, SCTE is your first
Hmm,
animal, so you will see the whole spectrum
true.
of the
But
tribe and the SE.
yeah.
Yeah.
But there might
Oh.
be some kind of like uh for lack of a better word, delusion there. Because as a social type four, I kind of I
Mhm.
guess you suppose ones and fours kind of see themselves like, oh, like extremely up here or extremely down there. Um, maybe I mean, I think twos and threes. I think they kind of balance it out a little bit. They kind of they're
Mm.
not going full flex or full demon flex.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I guess for me, I mean, I can see who thinks they are higher, but that doesn't mean that it's true. You know,
that's true. Yeah.
that may just be dumb and wrong. Yeah. So it's a very like it's late evening here, so I'm even slower than usual with the ST here. But yeah, let me see. I had some more questions about the social type because we were talking about how we're tribe driven. I have put number two there because I was also Habibed. I haven't been officially typed a number two, but I do trust Habib. So I think I am a two, and I also yeah triangulated with the tribe. So we're probably both, or at least you are tribe driven, and I can relate to that as well.
Mhm.
Um, so do you feel stronger motivation maybe to contribute to your friends and to the community, like yeah, in comparison to your own, like focusing on your own projects, would you say?
I think it's easier to move faster in a sense with other people. Um, but I've also still I do have a drive that feels fairly independent as well. It's just that when I'm doing that and I'm doing on my own, it's slower. Um,
Right, right. Yeah, because you
uh,
said something about you thought that you maybe were at three.
oh yes, yes.
And what was the reasoning there for that?
Like yeah, so it's like for the past like 2 3 years, I have like homed in more on like what I want in terms of like going into game development. So that felt like more like specialized. But also I kind of like spent much more time doing my own thing, separate from friends, um, which is kind of like why like I separated from the group for a little bit,
Mm.
and because of that, and because I realized like how much I feel like I keep doing that in terms of like it's kind of like a pattern in terms of like withdrawing to prioritize my own thing. That's where I was kind of considering, okay, I might be friends third, possibly.
Right, I see. Yeah. But now we know that you are officially type to four. So you are, I mean, you have that cool guy, this friendly, vibe to you. I was always thinking that you are probably friends. I didn't know if, I didn't know anything, but I didn't know if you were generalist or a specialist because that was kind of harder to see from afar. But just from the NF, like from the vibe. I mean, I'm not saying that the threes are not friendly, but it's a different vibe. You feel that it's more about work when you talk with them. While with the fours, I feel that there's this chill, like relaxed, let's just hang out. We can talk about whatever. We can talk about work. We can talk about private life, like anything.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
With the fours, I think that's always been something that's fairly been easy for me in terms of yeah, relaxing and just being chill and just having casual conversations. Uh, I
Yeah.
think three is actually kind of the direction I've been moving to, and so I wasn't sure if that was actually my like was that actually just because I'm moving towards it, or because that's actually been my vibe the entire time. Is kind of what
Mm.
I'm processing when getting my typing result.
Oh, that's interesting. Wow, we could talk for the whole night here.
Yeah,
So, yeah, just very briefly, like moving towards it. So, how do you see that possibly?
yeah,
Like,
moving towards the three is
yeah.
like it's just moving towards um well my career, but also like even like when I was choosing my college, my original college right after high school,
Mm.
um, I actually went to a college that didn't involve any of my high school friends. It was just I kind of had this inner desire to like focus on my own thing, and I felt like okay, if I hang out with my friends, it might be kind of distracting for me. And so from then on, kind of like the past 4 years or so after that, around like 2017, that's when I kind of I was processing that kind of part of my life and realizing, okay, I keep moving more towards away from friends, sorry, and towards something that's building for myself. And so that's when I was like, I think I am as I get older, moving towards three, am I just a three or something else?
Right. Or it's just like
Mhm.
growth and
Yeah, but
yeah.
actually, I think there's also like a little bit of like shame there, and I think
Hmm.
maybe that's why I wasn't accepting those parts of myself in terms of like a four. So like
What do you mean? Like
yeah, so like
shame?
in terms of like when I went to college, you know, to focus on my own thing,
Hmm.
I think maybe it wasn't more so just to better myself. I think I found that maybe like, oh, when I hang out with friends for a long time, it could be like a possible negative in terms of my growth. And so I think I saw it like more as like a negative connotation and really seeing like the positives of like what I can do with like others. And so that's kind of like what I've been processing as well, like this recognizing, you know, the positives of the different areas.
Mm. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, thank you for sharing. I'm just,
Yeah.
slow to
Yeah,
react
good.
as always.
Yeah.
But I hear you. Okay,
Okay.
let's move on here. Um, the pinging is hard for me. I'm kind of just either I'm blasting or consuming. It's like, oh, how do you do this back and forth with the info DOMs or play people like yourself? Yeah, so you have your own projects and you have been very focused on doing you, like your things now lately. And yeah, and maybe specializing, going more towards that specialize, which are both in the threes and the fours, like really owning in on it, honing in. What's your niche, would you say, like right now? What's something you're really honing in on right now? I mean, you've
I
been
would
talking about
on
gaming, but yeah.
Yeah, I would honestly say like OPS is one of the niches. Um, and that's kind of like what I joined back, or one of the reasons. But
Mm,
yeah, just learning more in terms of how the functions work, how the types work. Uh, just feeling trying to get like a better, just get 1% better in terms of my
yeah.
understanding and um, get being accurate in typing.
Mm,
That's one of my biggest niches. And then secondly, I'd say learning programming or improving my programming and learning to combine the creative aspects of myself in terms of like the ideas I want with the programming and making sure that those work together.
mm. By the way, do you use AI when you're doing these things like programming or even typing? Like, do you use it
I've
as a
not used
tool?
AI for typing at all. Uh,
Mm,
I think I tried ChatGPT once,
mhm.
and like it just wasn't really very accurate. Or like I tried even to like see if you could type someone who's already been typed, and it seemed like it was off. So I just
Right.
said, forget that.
No, you have to train it. It's not gonna do it if you don't train it properly, I
Yeah,
think. Yeah.
yeah. It's not something I want to spend my time on.
Hmm.
But and then in terms of programming, yeah, I can use ChatGPT to check on my code or check small things, small mistakes, and
Hmm.
it can be pretty good at spotting that. But it's also like you need someone who's good at programming to be able to spot the mistakes and understand why it's wrong. Um, so I can use it for like small areas, but
Yeah.
I also one I don't need it for like bigger projects as much because I want to see where I can go on my own.
Hmm. Yeah.
And then two, um, just to be like less reliant on it. I think it helps.
I have a very like loose idea. Probably it's not even true, but I'm thinking that somehow maybe it's easier for generalists to take in like use more AI because they are, yeah, they want to avoid all the specializing tasks, so to speak. And while for a specialist there is this almost like a code of honor, or like what you say, you want to be creative yourself, you want to use your own skills and prove to yourselves and maybe to the world that hey, I can do this, I can do this better. I don't know
Yeah,
if I'm wrong, but it's just like a feeling that I get these days.
no, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, yeah. The closer you get to the specialized, the more personalized the thing can get, the career can get for sure. And I do think you need a balance of both because like with the twos or just the ones and the twos, if you can find a way to make things faster and easier that don't really need the time and energy,
Mhm.
like I can understand. Yeah, that would help for those areas.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess we're always trying to outsource our demons somehow. So, yeah, aligning with that. But yeah, we were actually talking a little bit before here, before we started the interview, and talking about saviors and demons and how to view them and such. And you had a few thoughts that I wanted to explore a little bit. I thought it was interesting. Maybe we could, yeah, talk a little bit about that channel change from the functions and then go back to your type and the different
Sure, no
points.
problem. Yeah. What was I talking about? So I was talking about how um, with the functions, right? Dave and Shan kind of push, or they want to make sure that we understand in terms of like, hey, like your saviors aren't everything, and how if you can look at your demons, then you can actually see growth that might
Mhm.
take going through serious moment experience in your life, but eventually you can see the benefits of your demons in a sense. But I've been seeing lately in terms of like some people in the community, especially like people who aren't really in there as much anymore, that like I guess they have like they've been interpreting that in a certain way where they're kind of seeing like, oh, if you're gonna hate your saviors, then that can create a lot of shame and kind of to the person.
Yeah.
And I don't think necessarily Dave and Shan really want to push that. And I think they're very much aware of like the benefits of your saviors too.
Hmm.
But I was just talking about like how I feel like they could push it more. Because
Yeah. It
I do feel
feels,
like
yeah, go on. Yeah.
yeah. Oh
I'm
yeah,
listening.
I do feel like I feel like there's a huge benefit in terms of like seeing the benefits of your saviors first and the value of your saviors in order to get to your demons actually. I think if you just shortcut to your demons, then you I think it can create a lot of shame. It can create a lot of like rejection of yourself because we're all naturally accepting if you can accept who you are, you're all naturally our saviors in the first place. That's always going to be our first
Hmm.
and second functions. And so that's just kind of like what I've been processing lately and how I
Yeah.
feel like I want each of us can like prioritize that first before moving on to the demons.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just thinking about what has been said, like things that I remember. And I think from my box back. Anyways, back to the known info. So I think there are like two contradictory ideas that they have shared. Like one is that we are moving through our stack, like throughout the day, we're moving from one to the next, to the third, to the fourth, like the animal stack. So we can't really cheat. We can't really skip an animal and just, jump to the next one. So that's kind of, yeah, that makes sense and especially aligns also to what you're saying now. And then there is this other idea that we should maybe focus more on, or at least before, I wouldn't say it is as much anymore in their message, but it used to be a couple of years ago a lot about focusing on our demons, like do your last function, do your last animal. So there are like both thoughts out there. They are kind of TE style, like just talking about all kinds of ideas, even though they don't align with each other. And so then the reader or the listener just has to, like from a TI perspective, organize all of it themselves and yeah, prioritize. So I suppose some have been like when the hero's journey has been so emphasized. And of course, that is a part of life. Like, I think it's, I don't know, I guess maybe there are people that are not forced to do it, but I think to some extent, everyone goes through like a small one or a huge one throughout life, maybe once or twice or even more, many times. Like, um, it's hard to see that you wouldn't go through something like that in some regard. But I think when we've heard so much about the hero's journey and becoming, killing that ego and coming out on the other side and with this different perspective. And yeah, I think that's when maybe if you just take that on board and you don't balance it with the other parts of the message or what has actually been said or taught in classes, it becomes very one-sided because I think the message has been so emotional. So one might think that, oh, this is the important part, like, because that's the vision, the NIFI vision they seem to have had at least before. I don't know if you resonate or if I'm just, making all this up and no one resonates.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah.
Checking.
yeah, I think it was definitely something they pushed more earlier, yeah, than now. And I think in different ways, Dave and Shannon both like brought up now that like the benefit of just following your saviors first. In fact, Dave gave me like a voice message for my social type, and
Mm,
he said around the same thing about like going for your saviors first and to get your demons. And Shan talked about it in a few of her what's it called the long typings, like on a name,
hmm.
but the long typings that she does.
The live typings, yeah.
Yeah, the live typings, yeah.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, so yeah, I do feel like they know about it. I think it just in terms of like the vibe, I think it could be pushed more. Because
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think there's another way around it, you know, in terms of like skipping
No,
through your saviors. Yeah.
because one thing that you are mentioning is a feeling of shame, and maybe that's like almost shaming yourself because your saviors are, to some degree at least, it's a large part of you, like how you define yourself or how other people define you, right? Because otherwise, how would we be able to type people from a video? It's how they present themselves in the world. So that's a large part of their identity, the saviors. So if the saviors are not okay, in a way, you're saying that the person is not okay. I guess that's the shame aspect that you are referring to.
Yeah. Um, and it's not just OPS. Like I've done the OE like in terms of like there's so many different other like typology systems and stuff, and it's not specific to like OPS. I think it's just more of a general idea of like who you are and like what your advantages are and what you
Mm.
who how you see yourself. I think it just can always be pushed in terms of like accepting that first. I think
Yeah,
it's a great message to for people to hear every once in a while.
right. Yeah, and if we don't see where we are, and maybe that's the message, to see our saviors, to try and see them because they are so autopilot. And maybe
Mm-hmm.
their way of pointing it out to the tribe has been very assertive, um, very honest, maybe almost too, yeah. I mean, strongly, strongly presented. I don't know how to say it in an effy way, kind way, but you know
Mm-hmm.
what I say. So, yeah, I guess because when we are unaware, then we can't, like what you said, you spotted your patterns when it came to, for example, avoiding some unhealthy, whatever, what was it, games or foods or something. And you could move around it, but not before you were aware of that you were doing it, like seeing your saviors in action. Then you could connect and attach your inferior functions to organize that and navigate that.
Yeah, yeah. Like a good example for like SE or just like my stack, I think could be uh accepting like yeah that you are drawn to the sensory things, finding replacing certain things like replacing the bad with the healthy things for yourself.
Mm,
Yeah, and then also like for like SE and NI, it's like we have SE and NI has to like experience life first and go through life. And technically everyone does, but it's very much pushed for SE in terms of like going out, creating the experiences, and
mm,
then they can create the NI pattern afterwards, but they just jump into how do I see the pattern and not actually experiencing life.
yeah.
Um, then
So
it can be detrimental.
right, yeah. So basically, your message is that you have to start on the front end. You have to start with your saviors. If you
Yeah.
haven't experienced it, then what do you organize? You don't have anything to organize.
Hmm. Yeah. I just don't yeah, I don't want it misinterpreted in terms of like maybe new people coming in that like if you that like you're saviors or something you should be like immediately doing less of. Like I don't think anyone should really be doing less of, and we should be more thinking about it and being aware of it,
All
and
right.
then seeing how you want it
Mm-hmm.
in your life
Mm, yeah,
first.
exactly. Basically, because getting your type is basically it is to get a chance to see your functions in the mirror, see yourself in a way in the mirror. And it's not before you've been seeing that you can do something about it, because if you're unaware like of what shirt you're wearing, or what your hair looks like, how can you adjust it or correct it or whatever you want to call it? So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, we need
absolutely.
yeah. So you would say it's been useful to know your type then for the last 4 years?
Yeah. Let's see. It's definitely been helpful.
Hmm.
Um, my mind suddenly jumping to so many different ways to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or could you give me a more specific question about it?
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. Actually, we could jump back to the functions and the animals and just see where we go from there. Because maybe then you can see how some things have changed. So let's jump to the third function, FI. So because that is an area where you have probably honed in more and been growing, since now you have decided that this is important to me. I want to put more effort into this and, yeah, focus. And so, do you notice that when your values come out, they come out really strong, like almost immovable because it's masculine? Or how does it, yeah, what does it look like for
Yeah,
you?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, immovable, um, um, and feelings. Also, I'm drawn to the grittiness of feelings, the messiness of feelings, especially like in
Hmm.
movies in general, and like TV shows. Like I like the darker characters a lot of the time, and compared to like I guess feminine FE would be like the opposite end, like the masculine FI. I think it's more drawn to
Yeah,
darker
yes.
sense and grittiness. Um, but then in terms of outside of media and all that, um, yeah, I see that I am fairly movable, strong values, and I kind of have to also just visually or like facial wise. Um, there are a lot of times where like my face isn't movable, especially when I'm angry or upset.
Yeah,
Um, and I can get hold onto one emotion for a while. So that's
right. Will
some
people
things you'll see a
around
lot.
you be able to tell them that, oh, he's like, no, he's not in a good mood, he's angry, or he's something
Yeah,
annoyed?
I think they could easily tell. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay, good to know. I mean, it's helpful, isn't it, for the surrounding to know? Yeah, I'm thinking about the darkness in characters. Does that somehow influence when, because you say you're creating, you want to create your own games and maybe build up these stories and these characters, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I understood you correctly. So
Yes.
I'm wondering if is there a lot of darkness then in those?
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Like yeah, and my characters, I like creating characters that that were imperfect. That
Mhm.
some kind of backstory of like they struggled, and then they kind of like either they persevered or they're just going through something. Um, like I'm kind of drawn to people who have like yeah, just like an inner darkness, and I think that's so. I think a lot of FIs in general can see that or talk about that a lot in terms of like, oh, what's your inner emotion going on here, and just
Mm.
different people, different individuals. But I think masculine FI is definitely okay, just pushing on that and wanting to like maybe like even keep it consistent throughout the entire story.
Yeah, that's fascinating to me because my F is feminine. So
Mm-hmm.
it seems like the masculine F is really sharp in a way, like you would say with masculine T as well. Like it's sharp logic, and with feelings it should be like you can really dig into all the layers, maybe like to the depth of it.
Yeah, I think a feminine is like you don't want to go too deep, you don't want to get too messy with
Hmm.
it.
Yeah,
Uh, but the masculines are like, yeah, that's fine. I'll go as messy as I need to be in order to
right.
find what I'm looking for.
You're not afraid of it. It's like,
Mhm. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean it's interesting because I'm still demon F5, so like actual pain on myself, I'm like, no, no, stay away from me. um, but in terms of like,
Uncomfortable feelings for yourselves are like a no-no.
yeah, even just like foods, I'm like, I don't want to taste anything that's like too
Bad.
spicy or
Mm.
like I don't want to like there's some kind of sensitivity to like, oh gosh, I don't want to get hurt. But yeah,
Oh,
with
that's
the
interesting.
with Demon FI. But
Yeah.
if it's more like external, then I'm much more drawn to it. Like the darkness and the grittiness and the
Right.
pain possibly to a degree.
Would you mind if I turn off my camera because then I can charge my battery and we can finish the conversation
Cool.
without having to, yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay, sorry about this observer chaos. But at least we will see you. You are the important one here. So, all right, so we'll just see you now, and let's talk about pressure on self and how that plays out. Because having masculine DI as a demon as well means that we are quite hard on ourselves, would you say?
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, I think it's imbalanced in a way where it's just we're spending too much time, or you can end up spending too much time looking at the self and putting the pressure and accountability on yourself, but like not balancing it out with looking at others and taking accountability for what others are doing and saying. And so it can hurt the self more than it can hurt anyone else. And I think one way is just to make sure that I am looking at others the same way I'm looking at myself. Like after like going back to school, like on one way is just like recognizing like the teachers or the professors, where if like they might have done something wrong, like even like considering it, in terms of like, oh, the professor didn't teach this class well. Well, a lot of my students or my classmates will notice that, and I'll just be so much in my head about how well did I study and everything that I might not take that um, into consideration and not take action to change that once I know. So
Hmm.
yeah, that's
Yeah. So, because we were talking about this a bit behind the scenes, like how OP has changed, or at least made us aware and helped us change our view maybe on this, like being too hard on ourselves. It's helped us be more movable with self in terms of not pushing ourselves and also seeing how the tribe plays in, how they also need to be responsible. We kind of need to adapt a little bit of masculine DE
mhm,
in terms of balancing things out and seeing that others are responsible as well. It's not just us.
right, absolutely.
So that's basically what you've learned too in this process.
Hmm. Yeah, for OPS and I think yeah, a lot of it was through OPS, but I think also just a lot of it was through my own just reflections and seeing like the kind of like the toxic loop um, of um, of only seeing the self and pushing on the self. It can create like a loop where like you're not really being aware of the entire environment, and you kind of have to notice where people are to blame or where to take accountability and try to at least figure out how you want to go from that information, not just your own.
Yeah. If you had to give people advice on what it is to be an SET in the wild, what would you want them to know? Or even what would you tell your younger self?
Mm. Okay, I'll do younger self. I'd say
Hmm.
the main things I would want younger me to know is well, one is to find something that you care about, that you're
Hmm.
willing to do long term. That's doesn't need to be large scale, doesn't need to be important. It could just be something small. Um, like for me to a degree, typing every week, week after week, and then being in CRG kind of helped in terms of like growing my confidence and in terms of how like it's something that's more than just like logical, where it's like uh, I don't have to like think about how do I improve my confidence. I don't have to come up with um, a strategy for how to improve my confidence. It's just doing something over time that can improve someone's confidence. And this doesn't have to be large scale or high stakes, something small. So
Right.
I would tell my younger self to do something like that, maybe through writing, because that's something I was really interested much more at the time. Um,
Mm.
and then I would also say, honestly, as someone with ADHD, I
Yeah.
would say I'll tell my younger self that I had that because I didn't know at a young age. Not necessarily OPS related, but still something I'll tell myself because I think that'd be really helpful in terms of my mentality at the time,
Mm.
uh, into as a way of not putting stuff on my too much on myself, but actually separating things and learning like, oh, okay, this is the ADHD thing. This is something that I need to look at externally,
Mhm.
um, and not something to that's a weakness. So that's another thing. But overall, I would say just keep going, which I was already doing, and don't put too much on yourself. Things will be okay. So,
Sounds really good. Yeah. Yeah. In terms of the ADHD, now I have a follow-up question here. Like, how
sure.
long have you known for?
I knew my freshman year of college because yeah, so like, I was back in like 2017, 2018, and I realized like okay, my at the time like my habits weren't really as solid as I wanted them to be in terms of school, and I realized that like I would be wanting myself to do certain things like finish these assignments, and my brain just wasn't like functioning. It wasn't following through, and so I was curious like if I could take like a test. And so I just took like a test casually, like on a computer, just to get like an idea. And
Mhm.
it said like, yeah, you probably might have it. And so I kind of had to follow that a little bit longer, and finally got like diagnosed around
And
the same
like
time.
the professional.
Yeah, by a professional.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that was helpful because like executive dysfunction, that's which is like your brain just not telling you to follow through on things. That's something that I need to know in terms of like, okay, I shouldn't be internalizing this. Let's find some actual, I guess, TE tools to help myself with it. And
What have been the best tools, would you say, so far?
the best tools. Ooh. Um, honestly, the best tool for me has been making sure that mentally I'm okay first.
Mm.
Technically, that's the F side, but it's like truly like as I was talking about, like the OPS and the typing each week, something small like that they're doing every week. That's you want to doing that over and over. It's kind of been a tool in the sense that like um, your brain just naturally over time starts feeling comfortable with what you're doing. not
Mm.
just in that specific thing, but just in general, because you're doing it over and over. You're creating a routine for yourself, um, and not just going off doing the most difficult things. Because uh, for my degree, I wanted like in high school, I did like advanced classes because I needed to for because I needed it for my degree or for my future degree. Uh, but yeah, taking time and slowing down time to be like, okay, it's okay to take it one day at a time and do the easy parts and appreciate the easy parts. As a TE, like I was a thinker, I'm like always thinking everything's difficult or hard and complicated and like I still want to do it, but I'm drawn to the difficult and the hard. But leaning on to like, okay, what's easy for me, what's simple for me, has actually been like one of the best tools for ADHD for helping the mentality to and actually appreciate what appreciate myself in terms of like not just thinking about I'm only good when I succeed, but just I'm just good,
Mm.
and then moving on to the next step.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, kind of being more realistic or at least giving yourself the best shot, like by not necessarily lowering the bar, but at least making things more approachable.
Mm-hmm.
You're
But
able
yeah,
to maintain consistency.
yeah, and like the main thing is like that the easiest thing I do doesn't have to be necessarily forever. It could just be a stepping stone for then building the confidence and to move on to something else. Uh,
Yeah.
it doesn't even have, at least for me, I guess it's just my SE, but it doesn't have to be long term.
Hmm.
But it's still something, at least in the year, it's something that you want to do consistently, and then you can move on to whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because then you're building that muscle, that
Yeah,
strength,
yeah,
and you also
absolutely.
build that confidence. You see
Mhm.
the results, plus you know that, oh, I did this thing, and now I can do another thing because I did the last thing.
Yes, absolutely. I can't remember if it was Dave or Shan that talked about it, but they also mentioned the same thing. I think it was Shan in one
Mm.
of her live videos in terms of like how do you grow confidence, and she said, yeah, it's making sure that you have small habits. Oh yeah, Dave's talked about it too, especially like in the older times, but creating the small habits can build the confidence for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, I have gained quite a few insights from our conversation. It's been
Right. So was I. So have I.
fun, yeah. Thank you for sharing your perspective and to letting us get a glimpse of what it is like, to live as a real, like real life SCTE, not just in theory, but you're a real person. I mean, C are too, but you know what I mean.
Mhm. Yeah, I get you. No problem. Yeah, it's
Yeah, I think people will.
surprisingly there's a lot of them, but maybe not. Just not a lot on your channel yet.
No, not on my channel. And I mean, the ones that we know, I mean, personally, that's different from the actresses or the actors or the singers. Yeah, but behind the scenes, because that's actually where it gets interesting to me, at least.
Right.
So, yeah, I think people will appreciate the nuances that you have shared and how you have connected your type to your actual life experience and being so honest about it. So, yeah, thank you, Adrian.
Thank you. It's a great time.
It was. And maybe you will come back. Who knows?
I am down. Yeah.